Hey everyone, well now, David Gilmour month here on my channel, which means loads of covers, some tone analysis videos, a top 10 list or two, a few tutorials, so on and so forth, and today we're going for the twofer, a tutorial and tone analysis of David's solo from Echoes live in Pompeii. One of the rare live solos that is arguably more liked and well-known than the actual studio version. I'll be running through the solo at the beginning of this tutorial, but because of copyright issues, I'll be doing so without a backing track. My performance, however, of this one over backing track can be found down below in the description box if you'd like to check it out and use it for reference, perhaps. And like I said, after the tutorial, we'll break down the rather sweet tone that I managed to dial in the Bias Effects 2 guitar software suite. This is just a great echoey fuzz tone that David Gilmour had on this one. So without further ado, let's close in here a little bit on the fretboard and get at this. All right, Echoes from live in Pompeii, David Gilmour and Pink Floyd. We are in standard tuning with this one, working in the key of C sharp minor. We don't, not a whole lot of songs in C sharp minor. I don't think I've ever soloed in C sharp minor before. This one, working mostly here at the 9th fret position in the C sharp minor pentatonic. Mostly in this position. He gets up here into the higher registers near the end of the solo, but almost the whole solo is played right here, except for the very beginning. And so the C sharp minor pentatonic, 9-12, 9-11, 9-11, 9-11, 9-12, 9-12. So I'm going to run through the solo first, and then we'll dig into the nuts and bolts of how to play it. Out of the solo. Alright, so it starts with a volume swell on the 4th fret of the A string, so you're going to pick that note and with your volume down and then slowly raise your volume while you're giving that some nice juicy vibrato. And you're going to release it off to the 2nd fret of the A string, giving it a slight downwards tug before moving on to the 4th fret of the low E. So volume swell, then you're going to go 2, 4, 5 of the low E, sliding the 4 into the 5, back down to the 2 of the A, hammering on to 4 and releasing off to 3. So from the beginning, volume swell, 2, 4, 5, 2 to 4, 3. Now you're going to hit that 3 again, hammer on to 4, 6, slide into 7. So that's the whole opening phrase. And now we're into this. Big bend there, 2-step bend. So we're sliding into 11, and just riding down the scale on the 9s and 11s. And then when you get down to that 11 of the G, you're going to hit it again and give it a full step bend. And now you're going to quickly move up here to the 19th fret and give it a 2-step bend. And then give it a slow release. So getting up there and nailing the exact fret, these tiny little frets up here, is not easy. Now, I don't have a whole wall of amplifiers behind me like he does in that one, but I don't think he's actually picking that note. I think he's just sliding into it and then going into the 2-step bend. I'm not getting the sustain that I need. So when I get up there, I give it a pick and then I do the 2-step bend. I think that's what he's doing. He's just sliding into it and he's getting lots of sustain out of that note. But when I get up there, I give it a little pick so I can get the sustain. You also want to give that bend there, before you slide up, you want to give it a little bit of vibrato as well. Before you move up into that 2-step bend. And coming out of the kind of the slow release of that big 2-step bend, you're going to release it off to the 9 of the G string, 11, 9, 11 on the A. And when you get off to that 9 of the D, little downwards tug before landing on the 11 of the A. And then we're into this. And at this point, the key changes just for a few bars. Sliding into 7 of the D string, hit it again, and then roll down to the 7 of the, sorry, I said 7, we're on the 9s here actually. So we're sliding into the 9 of the B, and then rolling down to the 9 of the high E. Into a full step bend on 11, and when you have it up there, you're going to pick it again and then release it. Back to the natural note and resolve it back to the 9 of the B. And then we're going to go 11, 9, 10 of the B, again, and then up to the 12. Full step bend. And now when you have that bend up there, you're going to move it up another full step. And then release it off to the 10 of the B. And then we're into this. Sliding into 11 of the, again on the 9s and 11s here. Finishing on with a double bend on 11 of the G. With some nice vibrato. And then we're going to move down here into this. Very Gilmour sounding type little lick. So we've got, we're on the 12th fret of the B, giving that, picking it at the natural note, letting it sit just for a second, and then get it up for a full step bend, and then grab the 12 of the high E underneath it. And then right back into another bend at 12. And then we're into this. And nothing sounds more Gilmourish than that does. So we're going to slide into the 12th fret of the high E, off to 11, back onto 12. Hit it again and give it a full step bend. But you want to hear that note. When you hit it again, you want to hear that note ever so briefly before you start the bend. And then you're going to go 12, 11, and hit that 11 twice. And then you're going to jump up to the 12th fret of the B string, hit that twice, and then we're going to start doing double bends. And then back to the natural note, pick it, bend, back to the natural note, pick it again, and then you're going to go up for a two-step bend. So it kind of gets this feel. So the whole thing put together. And whenever you're up there with a bend, leaving it for any amount of time, you're adding vibrato. And now we're into a little bit of a scale run. Nine to 11 to start it, and then just scale and right up the C sharp minor pentatonic on the E string, with a final little slide from 14 to 16. And then we're going to take that note, hit it again, slide it into 19, and then slide it into 21. Kind of like that. And then you're going to go 21 off to 19, back onto 21, full step bend. When you have that up there, you're going to pick it twice, and then release it back to the natural note at 21. So that whole little scale run. And then we're into this final little lick to finish the solo. So the live recording from Pompeii, I think he's making a little bit of a mistake. He hits this note here at 18 before moving into that little lick there. You can see that he's kind of fumbling trying to find the note, and I think he hits that one when he's actually shooting for the 17. So I ignore that note at the 18th fret because I think it's a mistake. It's not in the scale, and it's a little bit of an off note. So he hits that 18, and it does not sound good. So you're going to go to the 17, hit it like 4 or 5 times, pull it off to 16, and then ride up this little D shape here, up to the 17 of the B and the 16 of the G. And then back down to the 16, onto the 17 of the high E, and then ride right back up that little D shape again. And hit that twice when you get there, the final time, the 16th of the G. And then you're going to flatten your finger on the 16th fret, and you're going to hit the B, then the G, slide into 17, and then B to G again on the 17 this time. And then slide out of it into three or four times, and pretty easy. You're just going back to the C sharp there at the 4th fret, same note we started on, and then you're just chromatically riding it back to the open A and reverse it. that like 3 or 4 times, and then the final time, he just chromatically goes A, 5, 4, 3, 2, open on the low E, into a B, C, and then finally back to C sharp, the key of the track. And that is how you play Echoes live in Pompeii. Just going to run through the whole thing one more time before we leave and move on into the tone for this one at a nice relaxed pace. Not a very fast solo to begin with, so I'll probably just play it at the normal pace so you can follow along. And that, my friends, is how you play the solo to Echoes from Live in Pompeii and Pink Floyd and David Gilmour. So let's have a look at the tone for this one. All right, so here's our signal chain for this one, and I should mention right up front that in my performance, if you watch it down in the description box, I manually double-tracked that, which means I played the exact same solo twice and played them one over top of the other. It's a technique to really thicken up your tone and to give a lot more depth to a solo. And it's a tricky technique because you have to be able to play the solo exactly the same way twice. But that's what I did, and but this is the actual tone that we're dealing with here. We've got a vintage distortion pedal here. This is a JB Fuzz, which I think that stands for Joe Bonamassa. This is Bias FX's version of that fuzz pedal, kind of a vintage fuzz pedal. First, I've got some compression with a lot of sustain going on here because there's certain notes in this you really want to ring out. Into a lot of fuzz. I've got the distortion here at about 3:34 o'clock, almost cranked, level at about noon. Into, I'm not sure exactly what Gilmour used. I think he was using the Arbiter, Dallas Arbiter fuzz face at this point, and but I was getting a nice thick fuzz tone out of this pedal, so this is what I went with. I don't think there's a Dallas Arbiter fuzz in Bias FX 2 emulator. Into an amp that David Gilmour used a lot back in the 70s, a high watt DR103, and we're set with our gain just at about breakup. At about 3, we're getting all of our gain, all of our distortion from the fuzz. This is just this solo is just all fuzz, delay, and echo. And so our gain is quite low, our fuzz is quite high. We've got our bass here at about 7, our mids almost cranked, mids and treble both on 9 to try and get some kind of highs, because this pedal here kills a lot of your highs. So we've got our mids and treble way up high, presence rate at noon, and our master cranked. Our 4x12 cab here, we've got, again, we're looking for highs in this one, so we've got our microphone placement right in the center of the cone. Chorus, I use chorus on almost, I don't think he used chorus, Gilmour, on this one. I don't think there were chorus pedals back then in 1970 or 71. But I use chorus in almost everything I do, with parameters set really low just to smooth out my tone. I'm not getting any chorusy warble because my rate is way down here on 1 or 0.9. and my intensity and width are also quite low at about 9 o'clock. It just smooths out my tone, and I often use chorus with settings like this if I'm not looking for a chorus effect. It just really smooths out your tone. Into a digital delay. Now, David used big rack-mounted, Binson Echo Rec 2s and whatnot. I'm using a digital delay here. Our delay time is at about 320, I think, 335. Feedback's at about 4 or 5 repeats. Our level is at noon, so we're not hearing way too much repeat, but we're still hearing some. So that's at about 50%. Tone rolled off just a little bit. And of course, with Gilmour, we've got plate reverb here. Plate reverb at about 20%. What am I on here? There's a lot of reverb on this one. I'm at 18 out of 100. I think that goes to 100. Yeah. And so that's, about 20% plate reverb. And I don't know exactly what reverbs Gilmour used, whether he used amp reverb or rack reverb or whatnot. I think he used studio reverb, actually. A lot of his reverb was put on in post. But that's it for my signal chain for this one. So you want to learn this solo and you want to try and match this tone. There you go. And I'm also going to upload this setting to the bias effects to Tone Cloud. Just look for my initials, KDA, echoes Gilmour, and you should find it. And that's it for now. I certainly hope that helped you out. And you guys take care of yourselves. Hope you're well out there in your little guitar corner of the world. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.